Jody. I love you back. I've been walking around, driving around, I guess, western Iowa here since this morning. I was in Council Bluffs, and I've had this big smile on my face. I just can't get rid of it. And it's just so great to be back here and to be with you and to get a chance to just relive in a little way the experience that Karen and I and the family had here in Iowa over a year. I think the Des Moines Register actually counted how many events that I did, and they came up with 381 events in the state of Iowa. That's speeches, most of them town hall meetings. For the average size of the town hall meetings, we sort of did a rough calculation. The average size of those 300 meetings was about 15 people. Now Margaret, where's Margaret? There you go, Margaret Stolfers from Soldiers from Montgomery County, from Red Oak. She is representative of the smallest town hall meeting I had, her. Now, I'm actually proud to say that because, I never had a town hall meeting where nobody showed up. That would have been insulting to me. But we actually had a great time in Red Oak, and it was 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. That's one of the reasons we didn't have such a big crowd at the town hall meeting. But we made the best of it. We actually went to the courthouse, got a chance to meet the folks at the courthouse, then we went across the street to the county jail, met some people who could vote for me and a few that couldn't. And I end up on caucus night, and we won Montgomery County by a big margin. So, and Margaret became one of our best supporters. So I just say that to all of you candidates. I know we got a lot of candidates out here who I suspect a few of you are going to try to do it Grassley and get to all 99 counties as you campaign. You're going to have some small crowds. But I just want to encourage you, even if you only have one, it could be Margaret. Or it could be someone like that. Don't be discouraged. The people here in this state, you're learning it, you're from here, are amazing. They care deeply about our country. You have a special role that you have developed here, and maybe in part because of the caucuses and what you have in this state, and in a sense the priority position you have that so many around the country envy. But you shoulder it well. And as someone who went on and campaigned in, I can't remember, 30 other states, as Cody mentioned, we won 10 others. Never experienced, even though I had some amazing times in those states and have terrific memories, the interaction that you get here in Iowa and the sincerity and the decency of the people that are here is something truly extraordinary. And so I say this from all sincerity. It is a real pleasure to be back. I apologize for only me coming back. Karen and the family are back home getting ready for another son to go off to college. It'll be our second son at the Citadel, who we're very proud of both of those boys taking the harder path. And we have a couple others that are going, and we're a homeschooling family until high school, and so we got 2 going into high school. And so she's very, very busy getting everything ready, and we're very excited. We're putting a little addition onto our house because Bella's getting too big for us to keep carrying her up the steps. And so we have to put a little elevator and a handicapped bathroom, and it's the best money we've ever spent. Okay, I knew I'd do that. It's all right. We're just thankful. That's really first and foremost reason why I come. But yeah, I wanted to keep my promise. But I just wanted to come back and say thank you for a tremendous experience and for reaffirming in me. And hopefully the folks who followed this campaign, I know there's a movie, and AJ, I don't know is AJ still here?
Over here.
There you are. He has a wonderful documentary out called Caucus that AJ is from Hollywood. And I wouldn't say, although he's more comfortable now in Republican audiences, maybe before Caucus was shot he wasn't. But he did a wonderful job in capturing the Iowa caucuses on the Republican campaign in 2012. And captured the real heart of what goes on here. And I think what he captured is how magical and special this process really is in your state, and what you add to the presidential campaign. It's the only state, and I campaigned, like I said, in a bunch of them, where you really have an opportunity to sit with people and share with them and have a real honest dialogue where they can get to know you as well as you can get to know the folks who populate the center of this country. And so I encourage you, number one, I'll give you a plug, AJ. I really encourage you to see it. It's you'll find it really enjoyable and entertaining, and a great reflection, frankly, on the Iowa caucuses and the people of Iowa. And so I just want to say that I'm happy to be back, and I'm excited to be here. But I also am here because I'm very concerned about what's happening in our country. And one of the things I found out when I first went to Iowa, I remember my first trip to Iowa was in 2009, I believe it was. And I went to Dubuque. And people, when I announced that I was going to Dubuque, I gave speeches all over the country, but I announced, as I do on my schedule, routinely back then, that I was going to Dubuque. All the press said, "Are you running for president?" I said, "No, I was just asked to give a speech in Dubuque." And they said, "Oh, so you're not running for president?" I said, "No, I hadn't really given it a thought." "Oh, so you are running for president?" And I just said, "No, I really hadn't thought about it either way." And the reporter who asked me that, a few hours later, posts up on Politico, "Santorum going to Iowa considering running for president." Well, I show up to Dubuque to a packed house of people, C-SPAN cameras, and the National Press Corps. And I thought, wow, this going to Iowa is a good thing. And so I always knew, and I say this to anybody, obviously if you're from Iowa, it doesn't work quite as well. But if you're not from Iowa, you politicians who are watching Caffeinated Thoughts here and getting the stream, if you want to be heard, come to Iowa. Because you got a whole bunch of people from across the media who are here tonight, who are listening to what we have to say and are going to be in Des Moines on Saturday to hear a bunch of other folks of what they have to say. So I just said I needed to come back to Iowa because of what I see going on in this country, and at least weigh in. And want to weigh in one way in particular. You've heard a lot of great folks who are in government who are fighting the battles, and nobody more fighting the battle and taking the arrows in the back and the side and the front and everywhere else but Steve King. You heard the fights that he's engaged in and all the political battles that are happening. I want to sort of weigh into another political battle. And that's one that affects all of us here as Republicans. That is the future of our party. And I'm very concerned about what I see. What I see is a discussion, and that can be a very healthy thing. But I'm also concerned about who's weighing in and how they're weighing in and the direction it seems to be taken. When I campaigned in Iowa and across this country, I campaigned with very little money. You know how much money we spent on advertising as a campaign in Iowa? $30,000. So we did it with smoke and mirrors? No. We did it by going out and talking about basic American principles. We talked about things that we could all come together and agree with. As Republicans, and I would argue as Americans. Every speech, those of you who had the opportunity, and many of you did, to hear me, I would always talk about our founding principles. Talk about our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence. How America is different than every other country in the world. And we are. America is based on the American Revolution. The American Revolution, which was galvanized by the Declaration of Independence, and this novel, unique idea in human history has never been replicated. That our rights do not come from the government, they come from God.